Well, I've had several people ask about my blackberries, and I haven't done a blackberry video in quite a while. And there's a reason for that. They're not what they used to be. So let me just take you a tour. I've got 4 rows. Used to have 7. I have 4 rows and then 1 row over there that's the lone surviving Primark Freedom. These are all the original Prime Jim and Prime Jan blackberries that I planted 2011, I think, something like that. As you can see, they've got some new stalks coming up, new canes coming up for this spring. That one's about 3 feet tall, it's about ready to be pruned. That one over there looks to be about 4 feet tall, about ready to be pruned. This one's 3.5 or so. But if you would remember, and I may try to get some old pictures, what my old blackberry patch, what this patch looked like 4 or 5 years ago, this is nothing like what it was. It was a 4 to 5 foot hedge, just solid hedge of blackberries, and it is no longer. So let me just kind of drive around and show you. Again, this is the first 2 rows are Prime Jan. This row. Next 2 rows are Prime Jim. Basically the same. I couldn't tell any difference. I think all of them come out of the University of Arkansas. But I've got so many gaps. I planted a few last year, dug a few up from here and planted them over here. Some of them took. I think that's probably that one right there may be one of them. That's a weed there. Some of them took, some of them didn't. I didn't water them like I should last summer. Anyway, I've got sporadic, just sporadic canes coming up. A lot of blooms. I said a lot of blooms. You know, compared to what I have nothing. But there are some blooms. I will have some blackberries. In fact, there's some green blackberries on here right now. Let's see the green ones there. And they're gonna make a blackberry. I've got the irrigation in place, so I can irrigate them pretty good. And last year, I say the other ones didn't take because of lack of irrigation, but I did irrigate them. It may just wasn't a good time of the year for them or something. I think I did them in early spring. I'll go back and look. Anyway, but what used to be, what you're seeing right there, a lot of that is weeds. Most of the white flowers are weeds and not blackberries. Now right in the middle right there, that's blackberries right there. That's blackberries. But it's nothing like it was. Now, I said once before in video that I read something one time, and I think it was an agricultural university study, don't remember what university, what state or anything, that said that blackberries, cultured blackberries, not wild blackberries, cultured blackberries had about a 7-year life expectancy. And I have never read that again. I've never heard anybody tell me that, but there are a lot of people around here that my next door neighbor back in the back, I gave him blackberries. Really, it was before I planted these. I dug them up because I knew I was going to plant new berries and I wanted a different variety. And that was probably 2010, and he said his looks terrible. So I don't know if somebody knows anything about life expectancy of a cultured blackberry. Again, not a wild blackberry, but a cultured blackberry. If anybody knows or has done research or has learned or found out about anything about if there's a life expectancy and expiration date on these blackberries, you plant the mother. What I was going to say, leave me a comment or something. Let me know, because I've never seen it again. I know I read it once because I thought, what am I doing this? I'm doing this for just a 7-year stint. So leave a comment down below if you run across that article, if you know anything about it. And because that would be just about right. I planted these in 2011, so that would be, you know, like 8 years, and it could be. I'm attributing all this devastation to gophers. I killed 10 gophers out of this little old patch right here, and they're coming back, you know, some, but nothing like what I think they should be. Now, what I started to say, you know, you plant the mother plant. When I originally planted these, and if you've planted blackberries, you know you plant the mother, what's called the mother plant, the original plant that goes in the ground, and then from it comes all these shoots year after year after year. But I guess what I'm saying is, does the mother plant have a life expectancy? Does she and all her little babies, like this one, do they die? Do they have a life expectancy? Do they die after a few years? Because I'm seeing a terrible blackberry patch now. It's really not even worth having. I don't think I picked enough berries. I I came through last year and just walking through, just got a few mouthfuls, and it wasn't anything. I may have a few more than that this year, so it may be coming back. I don't know, but I need to know if this is worth even keeping. Simply because I don't know, is it inevitable that they die? I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe you do, and if you do, tell me, okay? So anyway, I've got a lot of weeds out here. I'm in the process of getting rid of some weeds, but the new stalks look great. I mean, they're healthy looking. But they're just so sporadic. You know, there's a 10-foot gap in between those two new stalks, and there should be just bam, 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 bam. And there's not. And it's, you know, a little disheartening. I don't know if it's something I did. After, you know, I put in the irrigation system several years ago, and you know, when they're first planted, they need a lot of irrigation, but after that, I don't know, they seem to thrive even without it, unless it's just terribly, terribly hot and dry. Anyway, just wanted to show you that. Let me run you over here before my battery runs down, and show you the lone prime arc freedom that I have that survived. And it survived with a big old willow tree growing right big old willow tree growing right in the middle of it. But it's got a lot of berries on it. The freedom, the one freedom that I have, and look at that cane. That's a brand new cane. And boy, that's a strong, healthy looking one. Those two canes, that one and that one. So this, I mean, the freedom. Gosh, the one that lived has done a great job. And I've got a little cane coming up right there. I'll dig it up and put it in this row right in here somewhere. Kill those fire ants right there. And put them in a row. Maybe I can build this row back up. But I've planted this row, and that's before I understood the gopher problem. I planted this row with prime arc freedoms twice. That row, and that right there is the only one left. So twice I planted this row, not really understanding the gopher issue I had. And this row here, that was a row that was prime arc, a prime traveler, prime arc traveler, and none of them survived. So the one freedom I have is a mammer jammer. I mean, it's a good one, but it's the only one I got. And I'm so disgusted with myself, in case it was any of my doings. I'm disgusted with gophers, even though I haven't seen them around for a while. I think I got them all. I got the daddies and the kiddos and the cousins and the nephews. But that's just the majority of what you're seeing right there in those rows is weeds. And that's a shame. They should be blackberries. It should be a hedge of blackberries. If you know something about life expectancy, termination, if there is a terminal point to culture blackberries, let me know if you run across an article or something. let me know, because I'm interested in knowing whether or not I need to do anything to keep these going, or whether it's inevitable and they're gonna die and I just need to give it up. So let me know. And this is the berries for this year. I'll show you, a little bit more when they start putting on berries, and maybe I have a few. Maybe it's going to be better than it looks right now because there's so much weeds in it. I'll get the weeds out, and then we can maybe see a little bit more berries. Anyway, that's about it. I wanted to show you the berries, and I've had a lot of questions about them in the comments, and wanting to know how the berries look this year. I've already had people wanting to come pick. Well, no, not going to happen. I didn't have anybody pick last year, and year before last, I think I had 2 or 3 people that were my regulars. I told them come on over and pick. But last year, I like I say, I picked a few myself, and that was it. So hopefully we're going to come back. If not, we're dead. I don't know. Let me know. Do some research for me, because I've looked for that article before, and I can't find it. Anyway. Let me know what you find out, and let me know how yours are doing. If you've experienced anything like this, a die-off after, half a dozen years or more. If you've experienced anything like that with your blackberries, let me know, if you will. Please, please, please. All right, I do appreciate it, and we are gone.